I'm currently in the process of making my way through some Walter Lantz. I feel like I've kind of neglected certain Walter Lantz cartoon series, and one of those that I'd never explored before is the Little 8-Ball series. And there are only 3 films in this cartoon series, the first one being The Stubborn Mule, so I thought I'd start at the beginning. And as soon as I realised the kind of caricature we have for the protagonist, I had a feeling it was going to be a little awkward. Maybe not quite as bad as some other depictions I've seen from around this time, but it still doesn't make it okay. The Stubborn Mule was released in 1932. It's directed by Burt Gillett, written by Gillett and Platt, and we have a voice cast including Mel Blanc and Clarence Straight. And Mel Blanc is absolutely amazing. He can do so many voices, but it's still uncomfortable having Mel Blanc voicing a little African-American boy. And the voice itself is not too bad. I didn't feel like it was exaggerated or as exaggerated as perhaps I'd feared. But the actual animation of the character is, well, it's very clear to see why this only lasted 3 cartoons in the series. Let's put it that way. So it's hard to discuss this without going into too much detail about the actual character being clearly a racist depiction of African-American characters with the exaggerated features, and obviously that's just not great. Putting that to one side, the cartoon itself is okay. Little 8-Ball is in charge of this stubborn mule, and the mule will not move. So he tries various tactics to try and get the mule to move. The big question is, will the mule, this is difficult to say, will the mule move? I'm still not getting it. Will it move by the end of the cartoon? I'm not going to answer that question, of course, but there was that kind of fascination of wondering if the mule would ever shift, if it was going to be stubborn throughout. I was curious to find out. But even when I'm trying to focus on that part of the cartoon, I'm still thinking, wow, I can't believe Lil 8-Ball is depicted this way and this is the character you're presenting. Even for 1939, there are some things that definitely just don't make a lot of sense today. And this is clearly one of them. And it's difficult to enjoy the part with the mule, and we have some other animals in there, without constantly being reminded of this. And of course, that makes sense. Little 8-Ball is the protagonist. He is at the forefront of all of the action. He is the driving force behind what happens in this. So it's understandable that our attention is going to be focusing on this caricature. But to judge the rest of the cartoon, it's not so bad. The rest of it's absolutely fine. The mule is an interesting enough character. It is definitely very stubborn. That all worked well enough. But unfortunately, Lil 8-Ball is not a comfortable character to watch. So it's difficult for me to know whether I recommend this, because the bit with the mule was quite fun. Lil 8-Ball had some fun things to try to get the mule to move. It was interesting to see. It's not badly animated, the protagonist aside. So I recommend it for those reasons. And I also recommend it as a piece of history, as I always think it's important to not erase this kind of animation history, as it's something we have to learn from, and if you erase history, it's more likely to repeat itself. But at the same time, I can't say, go and watch this, it's great fun, it's an absolute delight, because that's definitely not the case. If you have a reason why you'd like to watch it, then I'd say, give The Stubborn Mule a go. But otherwise, I'd say it's probably not worth checking out.